Hello friends, welcome to Risingpearl.com. Today we are starting a brand new series 12, where we are going to focus on areas related to circles. Now friends, this is our episode 1 of the brand new series 12. We are going to begin by talking about, quickly recapping perimeter of a circle. So friends, what do we mean by perimeter of a circle? Now in series 10 we have just finished the circles and we know what is a circle. So a circle is a round shape like this. And the former definition is that the collection of all points in a plane that are a fixed distance from a fixed point in the plane, meaning that all these points, these are the points that lie on a plane in such a way that they are a fixed distance away from this point. That is, this is a point somewhere in the plane, and all of these points are a fixed distance away from this point shown by the arrow. That means that if you randomly take a few points on this, then all of this, if this is distance r away from this point, then this point also is distance r away from here, so is this point distance r away from here, so on and so forth. That means all these points, they are a fixed distance away from some other point which is in the plane. So we say that highlighted in bold white. So this figure that we obtain is called circle. So in other words, if we were to just look at it this way, let's clean it up. So this figure is circle, and very quickly, this point in the middle is the fixed point that is called center of a circle, often represented by uppercase O, and the radius of a circle is this distance, the distance between the center and any point on the circle. So here, let's say I have randomly taken a point A. This is any point on the circle, and then the distance between the center and any point on the circle is called the radius. That means the fixed distance from the center is called radius, often represented by lowercase r. So now, what is generally meant by perimeter? Perimeter of any figure. Perimeter means the distance around a two-dimensional figure, or in other words, the length of the boundary around a two-dimensional figure. So for example, let's draw some shapes. So here I have drawn a rectangle, and we know the rectangle, let's call the length of this as A and the breadth of this is B. Square, all sides are equal, so if this is A, they are all A. And this is a triangle, let's say one side is A, other side is B, and the third side is C. Similarly, this is a parallelogram that I have drawn. So here, let's say these two sides are A and these two sides are B. And let's say the length of this is a quadrilateral. So let's say this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. So in the first figure, we have basically a rectangle, right? So now for each one of them, if we were to write the perimeter, what will be the perimeter of this shape? Perimeter means the distance around a two-dimensional figure, or the length of the boundary around a two-dimensional figure. So if this is a rectangle, the perimeter is going to be A plus B plus A plus B. So this will be 2 times A plus 2 times B. So if I were to figure out, if I start, let's say this is some sort of a rectangular field, and this is me, and if I walk around the rectangular field, so I will cover A unit, then I'll cover B unit, then I'll cover A unit, and I'll cover B unit. Similarly, the same thing here, if I walk around this square field, I will travel A, so 4 A units. So for a triangle, so it will be simply the sum of the 3 sides. For a parallelogram, it will be 2 times A plus 2 times B. And perimeter for a quadrilateral, as you can imagine, if you start here, it will be A plus B plus C plus D. So this is what is meant, friends, by the perimeter, which is the distance around a two-dimensional figure. Each of these are two-dimensional figures, or the length of the boundary around a two-dimensional figure. Now let's talk about what do we mean by perimeter of a circle. So if you were to find out perimeter of a circle, it will be, there is a special word for it. The perimeter of a circle is also known as circumference of a circle. So perimeter of a circle is also called a circumference of a circle, which will be the total boundary around the circle. Now, circle is unique in that when you define a circle, the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter, this is always constant. There is a special constant. So for example, let's say circumference is C divided by the diameter. Let's write this as D. Now this ratio is equal to a special constant. What is that? That special constant is pi, or often pronounced as pi. This is a Greek alphabet, pi. So in other words, so circumference divided by the diameter is equal to pi. This is true for all kinds of circle, right? Or we can say, from here we can say that circle, the circumference will be equal to diameter multiplied by pi, or diameter, we know what is diameter. Diameter is equal to, let's write it here, this is equal to 2 times radius, right? So replacing the diameter by 2r, we can say that it is 2 pi r, where r is the radius of a circle. So circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi r. This is going to be very, very important, and we are going to, these are things, friends, that you have studied earlier, you are aware of this, so we just are refreshing what we have already learned. So circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi r. Now if I, here in the figure, I have taken like 3 different circles. So for example, the first one, let's say the radius is r1. For the second one, the radius is r2. And for the third circle, the radius is r3. So the fact that, so for the first circle, if the circumference is c1, then c1 divided by its diameter, which will be 2r1, is equal to pi. Or from here we can say that c1, which is circumference of the first circle, will be equal to 2 pi r1. Similarly, for the second circle, again this ratio is always constant, and that is pi. So circumference of this circle, if it is c2, c2 divided by denominator by the diameter, which is 2 times r2, this is going to be pi. Or from here we can say that circumference of this circle is equal to 2 pi r2. And similarly for this circle, we can say the circumference of this circle should be equal to, let's call it c3, it will be 2 pi r3. So friends, so really circumference, like we are seeing, it depends on the value of the radius. Now what is pi? We really have not spoken about what is the value of pi. So now the value of pi is, great Indian mathematician called Aryabhatta, he actually gave the approximate value of pi, which is, he gave 62,832. So 62,832 divided by 20,000, or in other words 3.1416. So like we saw, so circumference of a circle, circumference of a circle is equal to 2 times pi times r, which is the radius of a circle. So for this circle, if you want to find out, so if I start here and if I walk around this circular field, then the totals, if I start at this point, start at A, and if I walk all the way around and cover this distance one time, come back at point A, I would have traveled 2 times pi times r, where r is the radius of this circle and pi is 3.1416. Pi is actually an irrational number, and I think many mathematicians have tried. After Aryabhatta suggested the value of the pi, he calculated and it came to this fraction, and it is this. And then I think using some of the basic work which was done by mathematician Ramanujam, many subsequent mathematicians actually have found the value of pi up to even a millionth place of decimal. So it is important to know that the value of the pi, for all practical purposes, you are going to use that either as 22/7 or you are going to use it as 3.14 unless otherwise mentioned. So friends, perimeter of a circle is equal to the circumference of a circle, and that will be equal to 2 times pi times r, where pi is an irrational number. We will use 22/7 or 3.14. So friends, next video, in the next episode we are going to learn about area of a circle.